आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावृत्यै छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेमरसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna everyone. So I'm continuing to read from here where we stopped yesterday. Lord Shiva continues speaking to Bhagavati Devi as follows. We saw yesterday Bhagavati Devi is Mother Parvati, Lord Shiva's wife. Shruno Devi Pravakshami Tamasani Yatha Kramam Yesham Shravana Matrena Patityam Jnaninam Api Apartham Shruti Vakyanam Darshayallokagarhitam Karma Swarupa Tyajatvam Atra Cha Pratipadyate Sarva Karma Paribhramshan Naishkarmyam Tatra Chocyate Paratma Jivayor Aikyam Mayatra Apratipadyate. My dear Devi, sometimes I teach Mayavad philosophy for those who are engrossed in the mode of ignorance. But anyone in the mode of goodness who happens to hear this Mayavad philosophy falls down. For when I teach Mayavad philosophy, I say that the living entity and the Supreme Lord are one and the same. So as far as the Mayavad philosophy is concerned, it is good for those people who are in the Tamogun, in the mode of ignorance, who don't know anything. At least they will come to a platform where they will believe that there is a Supreme Lord, because those who are in the Tamogun, in the mode of ignorance, they don't have the understanding of any higher authority. Therefore, even out of the 18 Purans, there are 6 Purans in the Tamogun, in the mode of ignorance, or rather, we should say for those people who are in the mode of ignorance, there are 6 Purans which are in the mode of passion, that is for those people who are in the mode of passion, and 6 which are in the mode of goodness. So, those who are in the mode of ignorance, so all this Tantra sadhana, for example, people who are very, very inclined towards having meat, flesh of animals, for them, as per the Purans which are in the mode of ignorance, there is a part, section which mentions that if you want to eat flesh, then once in a month, you must offer it as a offering to Mother Kali, which is the most uh, if you see the form of Mother Kali, it is very, very scary, right? So, so in front of Mother Kali, in a dark night, one should slaughter the animal. Why dark night? So that nobody can see such a gory sight. It is very, very, that slaughtering an animal is not some pleasant sight which you look and you feel happy. Wow, what a nice sight. It is a very gory sight that you see the animal is um, in pain, screaming, crying, blood shed, and it's a very gory sight. So like that, these Purans have been made, and those who are in mode of ignorance, who have no concept of higher power, for them these are given, so that at least they come to the platform where they can come to that understanding where there is a power higher than them. There is a higher power. So same thing here, Lord Shiva is saying that my dear Devi, sometimes I teach the Mayavad philosophy for those who are engrossed in the mode of ignorance. But anyone who is in the mode of goodness, And if they happen to hear this Mayavad philosophy, what will happen? They will fall down. Fall down means maybe they are in the mode of goodness, means they already understand that there is a higher power. They are in a they have better qualities, good qualities. They have no or an attraction or inclination towards having the flesh of other animals, causing pain to other living beings. More or less in a good quality, good mindset. But if they come to hear this Mayavad philosophy, what will happen? They will come to this, they will fall down because they will start believing that the living entity and the Supreme Lord are one and the same, which is not true. The Supreme Lord, the living entities can never become equal to the Supreme Lord, no matter what they do. No matter what they do, the living entities will never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Hence, he is called the Supreme Lord because he is supreme. There is no one higher than them, higher than him, and no one equal to him. Sadanand Yogindra, one of the greatest Mayavadi acharyas, has written in his book Vedanta Sar, the absolute truth of eternity, knowledge, and bliss is Brahman. Ignorance and all products of ignorance are non-Brahman. All products of the three modes of material nature are covered by ignorance, and all are different from the supreme cause and effect. This ignorance is manifested in a collective and individual sense. Collective ignorance is called Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan. When that Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan is manifested within the ignorance of material nature, it is called the Lord, and the Lord manifests all kinds of ignorance. Therefore, he is known as Sarvagya. Thus, according to Mayavad philosophy, the Lord is a product of this material nature, and the living entity is in the lowest stage of ignorance. That is the sum and substance of Mayavad philosophy. By here, Sadanand Yogindra, who came after Shankaracharya, he is one of the greatest Mayavadi acharyas. In his book, the Vedanta Sar, that is the essence of Vedanta, what has he written? Satchid Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss is Brahman. Actually, that is not true. Brahman is only Sat and Chit, but there is no Anand in it because there is no service or there is no relationship. There is no give and take or reciprocation of relationship with the Supreme. Therefore, there is no bliss in it. There is no Anand. Ignorance and all the products of ignorance are non-Brahman. All products of the three modes of material nature are covered by ignorance. And in one place, this ignorance is manifested in a collective and individual sense. Collective ignorance is called Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan. And when that Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan is manifested within the ignorance of material nature, it is called the Lord. So they are considering that when all this collective ignorance together, it is called Vishuddha Sattva Pradhan. And when that manifests within the ignorance of this material nature, that is called Lord. So they are considering the Supreme Lord as being part of ignorance, as being impacted by the modes of material nature, or rather as a manifestation of the modes of material nature. Therefore, their basis of understanding itself is all wrong. If, however, we accept the import of the Upanishads directly, now this is all indirect, as Mahaprabhu was mentioning. But if we accept the import or the essence or the conclusion of the Upanishads directly, then it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person with unlimited potency. For example, in the Shvetashvatar Upanishad, it is stated, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of everything, and he has multiple potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental to the cosmic manifestation. Clearly in the Upanishad it is given. But still, in the Mayavad philosophy, as per their great acharyas, it is all concocted. It is absolutely opposite to what has been clearly mentioned in the Upanishads. He is the origin of all religion, the supreme deliverer, and the possessor of all opulences. the six opulences. Krishna possesses all of them in totality. I understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be just like the sun, profusely distributing his energies while situated beyond the cloud of this material cosmic manifestation. He is the master of masters. That is why he is called Mahaprabhu. Why? Because he is the master of all masters. Prabhu means master, and one who is the master of all other masters is called Mahaprabhu. And he is the supreme of supremes, Purushottam. He is known as the greatest Lord, the personality of Godhead. That means there are many gods in different departments. There is a master, so they are all god in their own, demigods. They are called demigods. And we also consider ourselves gods in our own households. We are also god in our own zones. So there are many gods. Then there are demigods. Then there is the master of all the demigods. Then there is master of the demigods. So ultimately, going upward, the greatest Lord is called the personality of Godhead. He's the head of all the gods, and he's a person. Therefore, he has a personality. He has qualities. He has pastimes. Therefore, he is a personality. His multiple potencies are variously distributed. Means he has multiple potencies and they are here and there, spread everywhere. Also, the Rig Ved 1.22.20 states that Vishnu is the supreme and that the saintly persons are always anxious to see Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. And in the Aitareya Upanishad, it is stated that the cosmic manifestation came about when the Lord glanced over material nature. 1.1.1 and 1.1.2. This is confirmed by the Prashna Upanishad 6.3. The negative descriptions of the Lord which occur in the Vedic literature such as Apani Padaha, the Lord has no hands or feet, indicate that the Lord has no material body and no material form. The Lord, yes, he doesn't have hands and feet like us because with our feet, we can only walk. At the most, yes, there are some people who do not have hands and they train themselves to do many work with their feet. That is a different thing. But that is there's a limitation to that. One cannot put food in their feet and it goes to the stomach. That is not possible. One cannot inject food in their palm or put food in their palm and it will go to the stomach and it will give energy to the body. It is not possible. But Krishna is beyond all this. His feet and his hands are not material. That is what it indicates, that he has no material body and his form is not material. But he does have a spiritual transcendental body and his transcendental form. We have a digestive system, we have a food pipe, and we have veins and blood going inside. Krishna doesn't need all of those things because we are in the material body. Therefore, we have all these things. Because how will the soul function inside this body? Actually, the soul is the source of the life. It is the life source. The life is coming from that, but all the functioning has to happen. Therefore, there is an outer covering of it. But in the spiritual world, the outer, the inner, everything is same. Therefore, in the spiritual world, we don't need a digestive system. But yes, if Krishna wants to have a pastime where he's having a headache, he's having a stomach pain, Mother Yashoda will make some medicine with some herbs and all. That is all pastime. That doesn't mean that Krishna has a material stomach like us, where if we eat little here and there, or if our food habit is little disturbed, immediately we have a problem. So Krishna's form is not like us. Even Lord Jagannath has this pastime where he falls sick, he does Snan Yatra, and after the Snan Yatra, because since morning to night he will take bath, all the devotees will come and bathe him, and after that he will start sneezing, and then the pujari, he notices that, oh, Lord Jagannath has fever, and then they will start giving him very plain and simple food, and Lord will be taking rest, so no darshan. Jagannath is resting inside, and then he will be, blankets will be put on him, and it is not that he's just doing it for fun. He's actually experiencing it, because that is Krishna's Leela. That is Lord Jagannath's Leela. Leela means where he's actually absorbed. Krishna is absorbed in that pastime. The sweetness of the Supreme Lord, that when he's doing his pastime, he doesn't remember that, oh no, I am Supreme Lord, how can I have all these things? It's not like that. He actually starts manifesting those symptoms. In Sridham Mayapur, we have Rajarpur Jagannath, where the Lord sneezes. And actually, recently I heard that somebody was standing outside, and I think after all the Snan Yatra, this program was over at night. After Lord Jagannath was put to rest, the Pujari was there, and only the Pujari, I mean, only one person was there, whether he was the Pujari or who, I don't know, but only one devotee was there. And suddenly he hears somebody sneezing. So he thinks that, okay, nobody's around, and this sound came from inside the altar. So he goes close to the altar, and he again hears that, okay, Hashu! So Lord Jagannath actually sneezed, and he said, oh, Lord Jagannath has caught fever now. Lord Jagannath has caught cold and cough. So, so that is the sweet pastime of Lord Jagannath. And even now, actually, very regularly, Lord Jagannath still does these pastimes where he goes with Balaram and Subhadra Maya, with his brother and his younger sister. All three of them go. There is a very big garden. There are mango groves, and there is a jackfruit grove. So all three of them go in the middle of the night. They steal these things. They come back. And once it happened that the community, I mean whoever this groves belong to, they saw that there are three, like two boys and one small sister. Okay, all three of them, they stole something. They took a big jackfruit and they ran inside the temple, and it was around, like, I think post midnight, maybe 2 3 whatever. So they come running into the temple where everybody's sleeping, all the devotees are sleeping, and they come and they knock, and all to the pujari's room, and the pujari says, yes, the head priest, yes. So they start complaining, we saw that there are devotees from your temple who came and who were stealing our jackfruit from the jackfruit groves, and these people were from the other community. So the head priest was very surprised that everybody seems to be sleeping and there are no sounds also. How is it possible that devotees went in such a at such a time to steal? So anyway, the head priest, he doesn't know what to say, so he apologizes, and anyhow they go. And then next morning in the Brahma Muhurta, when the priest goes to wake up Lord Jagannath, oh, he opens the curtain and he sees that half jackfruit is kept there. It's half eaten and half jackfruit fruit is kept there. So, and this is a very recent, and this happens on and off, regular basis. Sometimes they will steal mango, sometimes they will steal jackfruit. So this is Lord Jagannath. And just imagine whoever saw them, they may not know this is Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra Maharani, but they are so fortunate that they actually saw Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra Maharani. So, so Lord does not have a material body and material form. His body, his form, everything is spiritual. He has a transcendental body. He can take any body. Sometimes people ask why Krishna is blue. Krishna can be any color. He can be blue, he can be yellow, he can be green, he can be pink, whatever color he wants, because he is God. He can do what we cannot imagine also. That is why he is God. And he has a transcendental body and he has a transcendental form. Because the Mayavadi philosophers misunderstand his transcendental nature, therefore they explain the Lord as being impersonal. They take these words to be as it is, that Lord does not have hands and feet. They do not understand the actual purport of it, the real meaning of it, that he doesn't have material hands and material feet and material body. The Lord's form, name, qualities, entourage, and abode are all in the transcendental world. How can he be a transformation of this material nature? Everything connected with the Supreme Lord is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. So we'll pause here for today. And Krishna willing, we'll continue reading tomorrow again. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your very kind association. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuga evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री श्रीमद शिला जय पताका स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।